Kisaragi declared. Let's put an end to this already. Tadu retorted, don't get ahead of yourself, you incompetent scum, Tadu snarled. He launched massive fireballs at Kisaragi, who deftly slashed them apart with his sword. A crowd gathered, watching in shock. One onlooker exclaimed, isn't he supposed to be a weakling? By the way, if you haven't watched the previous episodes yet, please be sure to catch up on those first. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hashigane smiled, thinking, this is like a walk in the park for Kisaragi-kun. Kisaragi taunted, what's wrong? Tadu? Giving up already. Hearing this, Tadu turned red with anger and shouted, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Kisaragi. Kisaragi replied calmly, you really shouldn't swear so much. Tadu fumed, you think you're hot shit just because you beat Yoshimura? Kisaragi said, let's cut the talk, come at me. Another opponent, Inu, appeared, shouting, go to hell. Failure. And attacked with thunder. But Kisaragi dodged the attack in a flash and swiftly closed the distance to Inu. Kisaragi said, you can go in my place, and activated Thunderbolt. Inu was struck heavily by the thunder and fell to the floor. Kisaragi then walked towards Tadu, saying, you're the last one standing. Tadu pondered Kisaragi's imitate skill, which allowed him to copy the abilities of others. He copied Inu's Thunderbolt, but with its low success rate, he can only use the skill once before it's gone. His luck is about to run out. I'll show him the difference between our skills. Meanwhile, Loki was laughing. She thought, does he seriously still think he can win? How hilarious. She kept the fact that her skill had evolved a secret, unlike Copycat. The skills copied with imitation can only be used once. That's why I'll refrain from using Herculean Strength or Thunderbolt again. However, the painful ties from his past, he would sever them here and now. Tadu shouted, don't get cocky just because you beat them by a fluke. Kisaragi responded, is big talk all you're good at? It's fine to run away if you're scared. Tadu snarled, that tongue of yours, I'll cut it straight out of your mouth. He charged at Kisaragi, and the sword fight began. Suddenly, with his other hand, Tadu fired a giant fireball at Kisaragi. The attack was powerful enough that no one could have survived. Everyone, including Hashigane, was stunned. Tadu sneered, how did that taste, bitch? Kisaragi emerged from the smoke and said, didn't you try the same thing earlier? Why don't you learn a new trick? Tadu was shocked. How are you alive? Kisaragi replied, your skill didn't hit me. Tadu shouted, stop joking around. I hit you. There's no way you could have avoided it. Kisaragi explained, except that the explosion wasn't caused by your flames. It was caused by mine. You know what that means, don't you? Tadu realized, he copied my skill. But when did he copy it? Back then when I used Firestorm. Kisaragi said, let's bring this to a close, and ran towards Tadu. He activated Tadu's Firestorm skill and attacked him. Tadu tried to counterattack, but was unable to do anything. Kisaragi dodged, moved behind Tadu, and attacked, saying, too slow. Tadu looked behind with scared eyes and barely managed to dodge. After that, Tadu realized he had lost his flames. He thought he managed to copy his shill again. He said, Kisaragi, I'll surrender. Kisaragi said, don't worry, I'll make sure it doesn't kill you, and flicked a small flame from his fingers. Tadu caught fire, shouted in agony, and kneeled down, losing all his strength. Kisaragi declared, you lose, Tadu. Tadu said, it can't be. How could I lose to a failure like you? Kisaragi replied, keep your promise. Tadu nodded and then fell to the ground. A few days after the duel, with the help of Tadu's father, Hashigane-san was able to safely leave the Bloodshine Guild as planned. Together, they created their own guild. Hashigane said, well, since that's taken care of, shall we get going? Kisaragi asked. Where? She replied, to a dungeon, of course. Kisaragi asked, another beginner rank 1? She said, no, we'll try an intermediate rank dungeon. The Abode of the Dead. It's the perfect start to our new journey, don't you think? Kisaragi asked. For real? She just laughed softly. The recommended level for entering the Abode of the Dead is level 25 or above. It's home to many troublesome undead-type monsters. If I let my guard down for even a second, I'll be dead meat. I'll have to be careful. Why the long face, Kisaragi-kun? Hashigane asked. He said, nothing. I was just thinking about how we should be vigilant. Then he called Lufin. Kisaragi said to Lufin, we'll be counting on you, boy. Hashigane said, so cute and precious. Kisaragi asked her, want to give him a hug? Hashigane, excited, hugged Lufin. I can't get enough of this fluffy sensation. This is true happiness. Hashigane said, getting back on track. Could you tell me more about him? Kisaragi-kun, he said. His name is Lufin. He's a familiar that I summoned using a skill. Hashigane said, that sounds like a pretty useful skill. When and where did you copy it from? Exactly. Loki saw that and thought, She has sharp senses for a human. She has noticed the change in your skill. Is this really the time to be praising her? I have to throw her off my trail somehow. Kisaragi hesitated to answer. Hashige noticed and said, "You don't have to force yourself to answer. It's considered rude to pry into other skills. After all, I trust the two of you. You've got my back, right?" She blinked her eye. Kisaragi said, "Leave it to me." Hashige said, "I'll be in your care, although you probably won't need to protect me anyway." Then they reached their destination. In front of them, they found a lot of undead soldiers, level 23, standing with swords. Hashige said, "I'll break through their ranks. Back me up." "Kisaragi-kun," he said, "wouldn't it be better to play it safe for now?" Hashige replied, "Don't worry, my sword is specially made for these guys. I'll show you what I mean." Then she ran toward the undead soldiers. She attacked with her sword, and with a single blow, they were all destroyed. Loki commented, "That blade she's holding is a holy sword. It can slice through undead like butter." But the skeletons kept coming back to life. Kisaragi said, "Still, things will get dicey at this rate. Let's help her out, Luffy." Then they both attacked to help her. Kisaragi said, "You pushed ahead too far, Hashige-san." She replied, "Thanks for the support, Kisaragi-kun." Kisaragi said, "I guess simply defeating them isn't enough." He slashed one's head off, but it respawned again. He said, "They don't know when to give up." Kisaragi was soon surrounded by them and found himself in a bad situation. Loki asked, "What are you doing?" Hashige came and slashed them, saying, "It looks like you're struggling, Kisaragi-kun. I can't afford to have you exhausted already, so I'll help you out." Kisaragi asked, "Are you going to use your skills?" Hashige said, "I hate to disappoint you, but not this time. I'll be using my sword instead. I'll show you a fraction of its power." She used her holy sword's power to shine forth, then attacked. The undead soldiers all turned to ash, and a lot of magic stones fell. Kisaragi said, "That's the power of a holy sword." Hashige said, "All I did was let out some of the holy sword's radiance. It's like a wave of light. To take out small fries like those, that much is plenty. Anyway, could you collect the magic stones for me? I'll stay here and watch your back with Luffy," Hashige said. She petted Luffy's head. Then they entered a place where a huge door stood. Hashige said, "We got here with plenty of energy to spare. All that's left is to take down the boss." Kisaragi asked, "How should we go about fighting it?" She said, "Don't worry, Kisaragi-kun. I've got an idea." He asked, "What's the plan?" Then she replied, "Just wait and see. I'll bring it down in one hit." And thus, this chapter draws to a close. Stay tuned to discover what unfolds next in the story. In the meantime, why not explore my other videos? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories. Your support means the world to me.